Hey, what's up? Jerry Fogert here with NoGIS.com, and welcome to yet another exciting tutorial. We will be focusing on heads-up digitizing using ArcMap. Let's preview what we hope to accomplish. Here's someone getting set up to perform heads-up digitizing. What? That looks painful. I guess the lesson here is don't digitize in a lightning storm. Heads-up digitizing is similar to manual digitizing, though it works directly on the computer screen using a scanned raster image as a backdrop. In this lesson, we will accomplish three primary goals. The first goal is to get our hands on some pretty awesome raster data that we can use as a backdrop for digitizing. Our second goal is to create three new geographic information assets. In this exercise, we will be creating three new shapefiles, although in the real world, it is probably a good idea to create a geodatabase with feature classes and feature datasets. Now keep in mind that in a vector-based GIS, vector data is composed of discrete coordinates that can be used to represent point features, or they can be connected to create polylines or polygons. Yeah, well, keep in mind that we could perform digitizing using existing data, though in this lesson, we're going to start from scratch and create our own data. Which leads us to our third and final goal, which will involve heads-up digitizing. After digitizing new features, we will populate the inherent database. All right, let's get started. First, we're going to tune our web browser to the Geospatial Data Gateway. From this gateway site, we can choose data from an area of interest and then download it to our computer. Data held in this repository is for the United States. All right, after clicking the Get Data button, I will then click on Quick Counties. Next, I will choose the state of interest. After clicking the Get Counties button, I'll choose the county I am after. After clicking Continue, I will place a checkbox next to the Digital OrthoQuad County Mosaic by NRCS. After entering the required contact information, including an email, the request for data is submitted. If all goes well, we will receive an email indicating where and how we can download our data. My request for data has been successful and I have downloaded the data. With ArcMap open, we will use the Add Data button to add the aerial imagery to ArcMap. The National Agriculture Imagery Program, or NAIP, acquires aerial imagery during the agricultural growing season in the continental U.S. This is an NAIP image from 2005. Eventually, we will be digitizing building footprints, fire hydrants, and city streets, using this as a backdrop. Lucky for us, this raster dataset has inherent spatial reference information, as we can see here by looking at the layer properties. Yeah, this is good because as we create our new geographic information assets, we can import the spatial reference information from this raster dataset to our new data. Let's start our catalog and create our three new geographic information assets. The first shapefile we will create will have a feature type of point and will store information relating to fire hydrants. From the main menu, I will choose File, New Shapefile. After entering a name of fire hydrant, let's import the spatial reference information from our NAIP aerial image. To accomplish this, we will click on Edit, Import, and then select the NAIP image. All right, we can inspect the details of the spatial reference. Awesome. All right, I'll click Apply. And OK. To create this new shapefile, I will click OK, and we're done. All we have created so far is a placeholder which will eventually store information about fire hydrants. Let's create a new shapefile with a feature type of polyline, which will eventually store information on city streets. Using the mouse, I will right-click in this blank space and choose New Shapefile. All right, so after establishing the feature type of polyline, I will enter a name of city streets. And then we will import the spatial reference information from the fire hydrants. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And after clicking Apply and OK, we have created a new shapefile that will eventually store information on city streets. The third shapefile we will create will have a feature type of polygon. I'll repeat the same process that we went through for the point and polyline shapefile. This new shapefile will eventually store information on building footprints, not to be confused with dinosaur footprints. All right, that's pretty good. And I will click on Apply and OK. Did I hear a dinosaur? All right, so we have three new geographic information assets, in this case ESRI shapefiles. Currently these bad boys are empty. They don't contain any vector-based data. But again, what are we doing here? We are going to digitize. We're going to create new assets and bring them to life. I'm not sure if you've seen the TV program Frosty the Snowman. You've probably seen the story. It's where this top hat gets discarded by a magician named Hinkle, I think. And eventually these kids get the hat and place the hat on the head of a snowman named Frosty. And what happens? Well, the snowman comes to life. Well, just think of ArcGIS as our magic hat, and we're eventually going to add life to these new assets. ArcMap is currently running in the background. With our catalog open, I'm going to select our 3 new shapefiles. Holding the Shift key down, we'll drag these shapefiles to ArcMap's table of contents. Then I'll close our catalog, and now we're back in ArcMap. Beautiful. All right, let's adjust the drawing order of our data. In the table of contents, I'm going to move the raster image to the very bottom of the table of contents, so it is drawn first, and all of the vector data will eventually be drawn on top of the image. Next, I'll make a couple adjustments to the symbols used to represent the fire hydrants and the city streets. Just make a couple color changes here so that when we're digitizing, we'll be able to see these features and they will appear more pronounced. I'll have to admit that sometimes I have a difficulty pronouncing the word pronounced. We'll begin heads-up digitizing by digitizing fire hydrants. First, we need to establish the editor menu within ArcMap. To do this, I will right-click in this blank area to the right of the main menu and put a checkbox next to Editor. With the inclusion of the Editor toolbar, we can now start the editing process. From the Editor pull-down, I'll choose Start Editing. The Edit Sketch tool went from ghosted to active, indicating we are now in an edit session. To start digitizing the point-based features representing hydrants, we will set the task to create new feature, and the target will be set to fire hydrants. All right, you got to trust me on this one. I do know where there's a fire hydrant. I'm going to zoom into this area. With the Edit Sketch tool active, I will click with the left mouse button. After adding this point feature, if we wish, we can stop the editing process and save our edits. All right, moving along. Next, we're going to digitize building footprints. I'll start the editing process, set the task to create new feature, and the target will be set to building footprints. After making the Sketch tool active, I will place the Sketch tool in one of the corners of a building, click with the left mouse button, and then continue clicking on each corner and then using the mouse to double click to complete our edit sketch. What is an edit sketch? Well, using the Sketch tool, we digitize either point features or vertices of lines, polylines, or polygon features, sometimes referred to as a sketch drawing. Think of an edit sketch as a preliminary representation of the feature that we're digitizing. It's a precursor to the creation of the final feature. ArcMap will generate our final segments and turn them into a feature after we finish sketching. As I create the edit sketch for the building footprint, each of the clicks I make are considered vertices. The vertices allow us to create a multifaceted shape. After digitizing 3 building footprints, I will save our edits and stop the editing process. Let's save this ArcMap project. From the main menu, I'll choose File, Save As, and enter an appropriate name. I'll enter a file name of Digitizing Example and click Save. In this situation, a building has a round footprint. After starting the editing process again, we could make an attempt to digitize this round building, but the results will probably be poor. Instead, let's turn on the Advanced Editing toolbar to gain access to special tools which will help us digitize both circles and rectangles. From the main menu, we will choose Tools, Customize, and place a checkbox next to Advanced Editing. To generate an edit sketch representing a circle, I'll first make this tool active, place the cursor in the center of the building, click the mouse once and drag the mouse, establish the radius, and then click the mouse to end. If we wish to digitize a rectangle, we can use this tool on the Advanced Editing toolbar, click with the left mouse button and drag, and then click again to complete the rectangle. After generating an edit sketch for the building on the right, you may notice a small little veranda in the upper right-hand corner. With the Edit tool active, if we double-click on the edge of the building, or in this case the edit sketch, not only are the vertices revealed, but there's a thin green line revealed in the center of the current selected feature. With the edit tool active, by right-clicking on the active edit sketch, a new menu appears which allows us to add a new vertex to the active sketch. With the addition of the new vertices, we can adjust the shape of our building footprint to reflect the addition of the veranda. That looks okay. I will now zoom out to the extent of both buildings. All right, let's stop the editing process and save our changes. And I'll open up the attribute table for the building footprint. In addition to the 3 inherent fields of FID, shape, and ID, we'll add a new field which will eventually be populated with the building use. After clicking the Options button, we'll choose Add Field. The name of our field will be Use, considering it will be storing what the building is used for. The type will be text, and the field property length will be set to 25. We'll click OK to create this new field. After starting an edit session, we can select the building footprint of our choice, and the corresponding record stored in the attribute table is also revealed to us. After placing our cursor in the cell here, I can type in the use for this building. In this case, it's office space. After selecting the other feature, I will populate the use field to be equal to multifamily apartment. We'll stop the editing session and save our edits. Next, we'll digitize a few city streets. After starting the editing process, I'll set the task to create new feature, and the target will be city streets. With the Edit Sketch tool active, I'll click with the left mouse button at this intersection, and then move the mouse to this location, add a vertex, add another vertex, and another vertex. To pan our map to the left, I'm holding the C key down on the keyboard and then using the left mouse button to drag to the left. I'll add a few more vertices and then double click with the left mouse button to complete this polyline. As we digitize this road feature, we're creating a new segment that begins from an existing intersection. We want to ensure that the vertex of the line that we're creating connects precisely to other street segments at this intersection. In this example, our snapping environment is turned off. The result is obvious. Our features do not connect. While editing, we can establish a snapping environment, which involves setting a tolerance and a priority. To establish the snapping environment, from the editor menu, we'll choose Snapping. For the layer or asset titled City Streets, we'll instruct ArcMap to snap to existing vertices, edges, and endpoints, which are also called nodes. All right, our snapping environment has been established. Let's make the Edit Sketch tool active and continue digitizing. Awesome. Notice how our cursor snaps to the existing feature. I will start digitizing a new line segment, add a few vertices, and again, I'm holding the C key to pan. If your mouse has a roll wheel, you can roll the wheel to zoom in or out. And crazy enough, during the digitizing process, you can make the pan tool active, pan to a new location, and then click on the Edit Sketch tool to continue editing. All right, this is only an example, so I will stop the digitizing process by double-clicking with the mouse button. And then let's zoom to the full extent of the city street asset. After opening the attributes of city streets, let's add a new field which will store the surface type for the street segments. After clicking on the Options button, notice the Add Field option is ghosted out. Why? Well, it's because we're in an edit session and we cannot add new fields while in an edit session. No worries, we will stop the editing session and save our current edits. Outside of an edit session, I'll click on Options, Add Field, and enter a field name of Surface. This field will store character strings, therefore we'll establish the type to be text, and the field length will be 25. If we wish to populate this field, we have to start an editing session again. Editor, start editing. I will select this line segment using the Edit tool, place the cursor in this cell, and we'll enter a value of bituminous. I know we're having so much fun with this introduction to heads-up digitizing, though I think it's time to end this tutorial. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for yet another lesson. And as always, be sure to check out all of the other free lessons at knowgis.com. Take care. Hopefully you'll walk away with at least one lesson. Don't digitize in a lightning storm.